Hi guys, in this video we're going to be painting the American flag truck. I have the paint on my plate and I've got this set up a little different. It's easier for me to actually paint when I'm sitting down, so hopefully this also works for you guys. So we got the paint, your jar of water, your brushes. I have 3 sizes, kind of this little guy, the liner brush. I don't know if I'll need it, but I got it. This medium one and this big guy. And of course, also a towel, just to dry your brushes off in between, color changes. Here's my little sketch. Not that you need that. Okay, so I'm just gonna start off and paint this guy all red. I'm not gonna do the fender flares. I'm just gonna do the body of the truck up around the window and around. So just a nice even coat of red paint. You don't need a lot. Just take your time and do nice thin. The only thing about this is I feel like my arm's constantly gonna be in the way. We'll see. And then make sure you're getting over top of your white line. You don't want that showing. And you're all done. So I'm just taking my time, spreading out my paint nice and even. I'm gonna come over here. That way my hand will maybe not be in the way. We'll see. So just nice thin paint. This will likely need more than one coat, just because the stain does show through. And we want better coverage than that. But the second coat should not take much time at all. And the only reason that I'm going around the fender flares is just so that we don't lose that line. I'm gonna paint over just a little to see if maybe that white, gosh, where are my words? Brain isn't working. The China marker, I can't really see it that well, so we'll stick with the original plan to just go around this, and then we can adjust that later. So just go around the fender flares. Pay no mind to my trial over here. It's the first time I'm painting it, so bear with me as I figure it out. The only thing that does kind of stink is I do get some glare, and when I put my drawing on, of course I don't wait. I want to get it painted right away. I don't wait for my stain to set properly, so that my lines don't really show up that well with my China marker, and they're kind of hard for me to see. It definitely works better when your stain has set all the way. Otherwise, it just the stain kind of absorbs into the China marker. gonna flip this just so I can reach the top of the cab better. And then I don't have to worry about resting my hand on wet paint. Before I get started on another step, I'll go back and make sure you're still in view. We'll probably cricket. Cricket. I just rotate around with my board just because it's easier to paint this way. It's probably easier on you guys when I'm standing at the easel, but especially when I'm trying to like figure a painting out for the first time, I just prefer to do it this way. So I'm sorry if for some reason it's extra funky on your end. You can let me know and I won't ever do it again. But we gotta try to see. Alright, so I have everything on the truck filled in except, let's go back this way. Let me just double check you're in view. You're pretty good. Well, not that way, this way. Okay. So I'm just gonna go back at the beginning, just do another quick coat. This should help brighten things up a little. Just take your time, smooth out all your globs. You just want nice thin paint. All right, so I've got that second coat. Now I'm just gonna put in a few shadows up here behind my fender flares, just so that I can definitely keep that line. When I paint these red, it won't just like merge in and we won't be able to see them. So I'm going to use my smaller brush, and I'm going to just darken my red just a little bit. And to do that, I'm just gonna take a little bit of blue, as you can see, it's just a little bit, and stir it in with some red, just to get it a little bit darker. So as you can see, this is quite a bit darker. And just keep adding a little bit more red in until I'm happy with it. So maybe about like this. And then behind my fender flares, I'm going to put a little bit of this on. I don't know if you can see well, but I'm just gonna kind of sketch in above the fender flare. And you can get it kind of thick if you want. And then just take some of your plain red on your dirty brush, and you can just kind of blend it. I'm not really gonna know what this looks like for sure until it dries, just because everything does dry a little bit darker when you're using acrylics. And I have a hell of a glare going on, so I can't even really see it. I'm just kind of putting a shadow in where this fender flare kind of bumps out. I'm starting real subtle just so I can get a good gauge on my shade of red I'm using. If I need to darken it, I will. I'm just gonna stand up so I can see it. Yeah, I can't really see much of a difference. It's real subtle. So I'll just darken my red a little bit more blue. Stir it in. So we'll see how she goes. That is quite a bit darker. So here I had my before color, and then here, and I'll just get a little of that on. Same exact thing I just did, just with a darker shade of my red this time. Sorry, you have to bear with me. I am painting this for the first time, so it's figuring it out. Okay, so that I can actually see this time. And then I'm gonna just blend it out with my plain red. Just kind of ease the transition so it's not just a real solid dark line. So just plain red paint. My edge is starting to get a little messy, and try to be a little more careful than what I'm doing. Okay, so I can definitely see a dark line there. Perfect. I'm also gonna darken kind of up in here. So at the bottom of this, I'm just gonna brush upward. Oops. Clean that up a little. With my dark red, and then take regular red. And just blend it right on top. Kind of smooth it out. I'm gonna create a running board here. So the dark red. And then leave a gap. And I'm just gonna kind of go as straight as I can. Right across. And kind of blend down. So regular red now. And just kind of blend that out. Then I'm gonna go around this fender flare. I'll move you down a smidge. Do the same exact thing with the shadow, the dark red. Go right up around the edge. I'm on the red. I'm not painting on the wood part of the fender flare that we haven't painted yet. I'm just sticking to the red. And then regular red on top of that dark red. And just kind of blend and smooth it out. So there. Now I'm just, well, I guess we can do a little more shadowing. Let's get all the shadows done. I'm gonna come right around the edge of my window with the dark red. And we'll go ahead and blend it out. This is just tiny, tiny bits of paint. It does not take much at all. Finish around the side with the dark red. I've got pretty bad glare, so hopefully I'm painting in the right spot. I can't see it. And across the bottom. And then I'll just blend it with a little bit of the plain red. And I'm also going to take a little of this dark red kind of across the back of the cab. And then I'll kind of brush a little bit coming down the front of the cab here. And I'm going to define a door area. So, I don't know, a door, it becomes down like this, and then across the bottom. And I'm just doing like quick sketchy lines. Take a little bit of your red if it's too much. You want to like kind of tone it down. And I'm gonna put a handle in also. And I'm just gonna use the dark red. Let's see, handle goes like right in here. And it's just like a little dash where a handle would go. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at it, seeing if I need anything else anywhere. Oh, how about, you see how this comes out? I want to like make that look like it's kind of like got a lip. So I'll just run a little bit of this dark red across the back. Just very little. Try to stay straight. And then you can just take your plain red, just a little on your brush, and then just kind of smooth it out. There. I'm gonna stand up so I can look. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm gonna go in now and do my fender flares. Let me get centered-ish for you. And I'm just gonna paint these red. Yeah, this one and 2 coats of red, just like we did the body of the truck. So I'm just gonna get my brush cleaned out, even though it's red. Just get any of the excess water out with my towel. And I'll just fill in these. All right, I've got one coat on both. So this time, for my second coat, I'm gonna blend white in. So I'm just gonna do a quick once over with the red. And I realize this is going to turn pink, just bear with me. Follow me blindly. So I'm just getting a quick coat of red on. Doesn't need to be perfect. We'll smooth it all out better once we get the white on. So just take a little bit of white. And you're gonna start at the top. And then just brush back and forth over it, down. So we want the very top edge to be the brightest. And as we work our way down, it gets a little bit darker. We're going to do the same thing to this back one. So I'll just start with red. Get a quick once over coat on. So this paint is nice and wet. When we put the white on, a little bit of white, doesn't take much. And then I'll just start at the top edge. And just keep going over it. And once I get it smooth, just start going down. So it starts to blend down. Like this edge is really white, that's okay. This pink is not gonna stay. I like how bright that is though. So I'm gonna make this one a little bit brighter. Just add a little bit more weight to it. Okay, so when that is completely dry, make sure you're in view here. We're just gonna paint a thin coat of red right on top. And that light showing there is gonna come right through that red. I'm gonna use my handy dandy blow dryer quick and I'll show you. Okay, so clean brush. Just get all the excess water out and make sure you're in view. Yep, you can see. And I'm gonna take just a little bit of red paint, go right over top of this. And that lightened spot is still lightened. That way, it still reads as red instead of pink. And I'm just gonna go ahead and paint the whole thing. Give it a quick coat. Nice and thin. If it's too thick, that white isn't gonna show through for you. And same with this back one. Just some red paint right on top. Just a plain, regular red. So there, we've got nice highlighted fender flares. I'm also going to come in and do some more highlights throughout. And I'm gonna use my smaller brush just so I have better control over the amount of paint, because I just want tiny bits. So I'm gonna do basically the same idea, except instead of starting with red, I'm just gonna do a little bit of white. I'm gonna highlight this ridge here. So I'm gonna take just a tiny bit of white across that, and then just pick up my plain red, and I'm just gonna blend it across the top here. And then when it's dry, I can just put the plain red on top. So it's okay if it's pink right now. We're just trying to get some highlights put on. I'm going to highlight the very edge of this running board. And at this point, you can use a dirty brush, it's fine, because it's gonna be blended anyway. Just at the very bottom edge of this, just kind of brush a little bit of that on. And then just plain red. Right over top and blend. You do have to work fairly quickly, just because using such tiny amounts of paint, it dries very quick, and you want to be able to blend that white out. And I'm going to highlight a little bit up here too. Just some red. Anywhere else that needs a little brightening? Maybe just right up here. So just a little. Right now my white is basically pink, but that's fine because it blends out to be pink anyway. And just a little spot there. Take some red. Okay. So I'm liking that. Now I'm just gonna, this is dry. Just clean the white out of my brush and go right over it with just plain bright red. So just plain red. And you're just gonna go right over top and get that pink to look red. Right over top of this. And then here. Don't forget this. And if you have any spots that still are showing through as like very bright pink, hit it with another coat of red. Because sometimes one thin coat of red doesn't quite cover it enough to make it look red still. But I'm liking it. I think this looks nice. Okay, truck complete. Like the body anyway. Did I do that? I don't know. I can't tell. I got glare. We're going to work on tires, this little bumper piece, and the headlight. So I'll just start with the tires. Black paint. I use a bigger brush. Just get all the water out. And just with some black paint. Nice thin even coat. Get these big old tires just filled right in. Being careful of my edges. So the tires are kind of like within the fender flare, like inset. We might want to go back in and shadow around this edge of the red. I'll see how it goes after this is done, if it needs that. I'm thinking yes, it does. I'll put a little dimension. Make sure you get the pencil line covered. So there's one. Oops, got a little glob. And I'll do this back one. The fumes of the stain on this board, since it hasn't really had much time to set, it's right in my face and I might be getting a little headache. All right, sorry. Okay, got those filled in, let those dry. I'm gonna come paint the headlight and the bumper. Gonna make a gray. Whoops. Gonna mix up a little gray. I'm going to, let's see. So I want a medium to light gray. I'm just gonna take a scoop of black over here and just start adding white until I get the color I want. So about like that. Maybe a little lighter. Add, stir in some more white. That looks good. I just roll the excess off, stick it in my jar. I'm gonna use a smaller brush because those are just some itty bitty spots. So it's just this headlight and this little front bumper. My brush seems dirty. I need to try washing that baby again. There we go. That's better. So just a tiny bit of paint on your brush. And just do your best. Get that white line covered. Got my headlight. And then this little bumper nugget. A lot of paint. Okay. So these are dry now. I'm gonna go ahead. Do I want white walls? White wall with a hubcap? Yeah, let's do the white walls. I like the white walls. So just with white paint, I'm gonna put a big old circle inside that circle. I'm gonna start with less. And I like to start with a small circle. That way I can kind of adjust it as I go to be the size that I want. And circles are hard. So if you just start with a circle, you're gonna probably need to adjust it, and if it's already real big, you're not gonna have much tire left. So this is actually gonna go out quite a ways because we're gonna put hubcaps in too. We want these to look like the white walls of the tire. So it's gonna take up a good amount of tire. Just try to stay center. And remember that a lot of the tire is actually kind of up in here behind that fender flare. So I got plenty of room to put a hubcap on. Why these tires seem massive, don't they? Mudding. Alright, I'm good with that one. I'm gonna go ahead and move over to this one. Try to do it somewhat the same size. Near impossible to be exact, just do your best. seems fine. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry. I'm probably gonna wanna do a quick second coat, at least around the outside edge, because that's all it's gonna be showing anyway. Meanwhile, I'm gonna come in and put some shadow under here. So we did the dark red up around this side of the fender flare. I just wanna get a little shadow kind of up and under on the red part on the underneath. So just with my little brush, it's the same exact process that we did previously. You just take a little bit of your dark red. I'm gonna go just kind of on the very outside edge here. Get a little shadow put in. And then as I work, just add some red to kind of soften the edge and blend it. That way you don't have like stripes. It looks more gradual. I gotta stand a look so I can see past the glare. I think I'm good. Yep. And then I'll do the same exact thing, oops, on this one. A little bit of the dark red. I'm gonna go all the way, start out here. And just come all the way around. Red to blend. That one I can't even see. Sorry, my big old head's in the way. Sorry. All right, truck, good to go. I can do a second coat of white on that outside edge. Let me just check, make sure the video is still going. Seems to be fine. I'm just gonna focus mostly on this outside for the second coat, because the inside's gonna have a hubcap. Go ahead and put my little reflective lines in my gray pieces here. I got the headlight and the front bumper. Get the red out of this. And it's just a little swoop of white, a little swoop of white. Okay. Let me just look through the camera, see how. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so next is the flag. Go ahead, we're gonna paint whatever, this little patch here, that would be the blue where the stars go. Oh, you know what? I feel like we should do that first. So with my little brush, the pole, I guess gray, right? Like a metal pole. White would probably look nice too. I don't know. I'm gonna go with gray. So I got my gray, same gray as we used here and here, since I got tons of it. Just take your time. There's this little ball on top. And then I just try to go center down this line. I'm just gonna do the width of my brush. Hopefully it doesn't get too wide. This is dry. I want to drag my arm, so I'm going to blow it dry so I can just rest my arm and drag so it's nice and straight. I'm just gonna, so what I do is like I keep my arm and I only like move back. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I just keep my hand steady against the board and I just pull my arm. It got a little weird, but you know, whatever. Guess I should get it in the truck, huh? And then when we put some highlight on that, it'll look better. So, let's do this little blue patch and then these stripes. So I'm just gonna mix up my color using this bigger, like the medium-sized brush. I don't know why I brought this one over. We're not gonna use that. I'm gonna darken my blue. So you know how I darkened the red using blue? I'm gonna use the red to darken the blue. A little bit of red, stirred in with quite a bit more of the blue. And as you can see, it slowly gets a little bit darker. You don't want so much in that it turns purple, but a little bit until, you know, it's, you know, noticeably darker. And it is going to look darker on the wood as well because it's, you know, dark. It's not like we're painting on white. So that seems good. I'm just kind of taking the excess off my brush because I don't want that thick amount of paint. Just so you can see something about like that. And I'm gonna turn it so I can get at it good. And it's just this patch. Why do I get a big old wet spot? Water. Turn it so I can reach it well. Good, whatever. And I'm just gonna fill in this patch. And as you can see, it's a nice, deep, rich blue. I might even want the smaller brush because these little corners are important. You don't want them getting wide and weird. So, little guy. Because this one, it's like connected here. And it's like really pointy. Right where it connects to the pole. And you want that nice clean point. Okay, so I've got the blue part done. Now is the fun part, the stripes. So in each piece, you're just gonna start at the top with the red. So we're gonna use a darkened red, just a little bit. Actually, we're not, because it is darker because of the wood. So ideally, it's gonna be this color that we see right here. So that's perfect. So a small brush. And let's start here. I'm gonna just work my way this way. So at the top, I'm gonna just do all my red stripes first. I'm gonna put a stripe in here. you can see these lines that go down. That's where the wave is. So I'll just put a stripe across the top here. This is gonna like take a little bit of time. This is gonna be tedious. Because I want it to look, you know, nice and crisp. And I'm making my lines kind of curved just a little. I'll skip a little space. Start another one. And when we go back in with white, we can clean some of this up a little. So like my white stripe is a little thin. That's all right. I'll make it whiter later when I use the white. And then this bottom one connects. Connects to the pole. Sorry, I lose what I'm saying. I get into it. I'm gonna do a little bit of a curve. And it's gonna come down here. Curves around like this. Oh, there, that first chunk, I got 3 stripes. Red, white, red, white, red. I'm gonna start again at the top and go down, and hopefully they stagger a little so it puts like a ripple in. We'll see what happens. Start at the top. Leave a space. And I am curving a little because this top line has a bit of a curve, so you're just gonna keep with that same curve. And just continuing on, going all the way down, every other. After this one, I'm probably gonna go to the bottom, just so that I could kind of adjust a little bit if I need to, because that bottom stripe needs to be red, because the bottom stripe here is red. Otherwise, it does not make any sense. So once I get this one filled in, I'm gonna go down there and put my bottom stripe in. That way, my middle stripe, I can just kind of go halfway. So here's my bottom. It's got this curve. And then my last stripe will go right in between. So make sure you have white on either side, and then you can, you know, gauge your stripe this way. Rather than, you know, you get all the way down here and then at the end it's like you've got one giant gap left. and you're like, oh crap, do I make that 2 stripes, like a really skinny red one, or do I just make it one giant red one? So that kind of will help you be able to adjust there at the bottom. And like I said earlier, when we go in and put the white in, we can kind of reclaim some of those spaces on top of the red to even some of them out a bit better. Like that one got skinny and weird. I can take a little bit of that red when I do the white. Okay, so last little section, I'll do exactly the same. I'm gonna start with red at the top. So let's see, right here is my line. Well, this one's gonna alternate nice. Leave a gap. I'm gonna keep trying to get that curve in just a little bit. Best I can. Little space. I guess I need to be going all the way to this edge out here. Cover that white line. Space. Then after this one, like I did on that last section, I'm gonna go down to the bottom so it helps me keep from getting like wonky ones on the end. So where's my bottom? I can't see my line for beans. I guess it curves like this. I can't really see it. What's my drawing look like? Yes. So there's my bottom stripe. I just kind of brought it all the way over to that. It's like a ripple. And then my last stripe will be of this fine kind of center here in this empty space that I've left. I'm gonna curve it with that bottom. And obviously now I've gone very skinny there, so I'm gonna have to reclaim some of that red zone area with the white when I do the white. Okay, so I've got all my red stripes in. Hoorah. I'm gonna give that a little time to dry. Meanwhile, I can go put my hubcaps in down here. I'll use my medium brush. Oh, you know what would be kind of cute is star hubcaps. That might be a little too much though. I don't know. Feel free to do stars. I would do like navy blue probably if I were to do stars. That would be cute. I'm gonna keep it simple. Just gonna do gray. I'm just using the same gray that we did this and the pole. Start in the middle. And just try your best to make a nice even circle. It's a little off center. Oh, it just keeps growing and growing. The struggle is real. All right, that one's done. Same over here. Start in the middle. Try to make them even-ish. Close enough. Let me just tilt it to me a little. Yeah, that looks good. Or even like stars in the gray. I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to put stars in there, guys. I'm afraid it'll be too busy though. No. I'll hold that thought. I'm gonna come up and do my white stripes. I'm just gonna flip it this way. It's just easier for me to work this way. Little brush. Get out any of the color that might be lingering in there. Red likes to get shoved down in the base of those bristles. We need nice, clean white. I'm just gonna go in. The white is likely gonna take a couple coats, which sucks, but it is what it is. Just a little paint on my brush. And I'm just gonna start here. Just take your time. This is definitely gonna take some time. Whose idea was this flag truck anyway? Whew, my eyes are crossing. So this one was a little skinny, so I'm kind of overlapping onto the red just a little, just to get that stripe to be maybe a little bit more even. I don't think I'm gonna need 2 coats though, so that makes me happy. This is looking cute though, huh? Yes, it is. I'm trying my best where these lines meet, like the individual, so we've got this ripple here and this ripple here. I'm trying really hard to make that nice and clean because it's gonna make a world of difference at the end. So just try your best to keep that line nice and clean. All right, one section complete. Oh my gosh, how are we gonna do all those stars? I'm not sure. I'm gonna need an itty bitty brush for that. Let's not think about what we gotta do next. Let's just focus on what we're doing now. I'm so afraid that the video is gonna stop. I gotta double check it just for peace of mind. No, we're good. Hey, we're an hour and 2 minutes in. Not too bad for time. And I've gone slow. I feel like I've gone slow. lot of paint on that brush this time. This really does take the tiniest amount of paint on your brush. You don't want it to pool up around the edges of the bristles and leave big, thick, streaky things. So the least amount of paint you can actually use to put paint on is ideal. So this one, I definitely need to kind of pay attention to the shape I'm making. Oh, mother trucker. Pay attention to that too. But anyway, sorry. So this one, this stripe got kind of skinny on this end. I can fix her up now that I'm using the white. Just kind of go right over top of the red a little and get some of that stripe back. Yay, another section complete. Now just this last little bit. This is looking super cute though. I like that that's actually kind of making it look like a ripple. I think if we just take a little bit of white down to define it, I think that'll work great. We'll see. I'm not positive. too far down on that red. Sorry. And I know when I try to cover the red back up, it's gonna look really bright because it's got that white on it. So I just wiped it off as best I could. And I'm gonna try again. This does kind of have a weird curl at the very end. I feel like this one should have a little curl to it too. Just a smidge. So kind of match it a little. Just ever so slight. Yeah, I'm probably the only one that even noticed that. So being a little nitpicky. We always are a little extra nitpicky of our own work, isn't that true? I do want to, I can still see a little bit of that white that I didn't get wiped off real good. I'm just going to take the easiest amount of red on that, cover it up. Just right there. Beautiful. Okay. So I think maybe we just leave it alone. It'll be perfectly fine. Sorry, I got to look at my thing to figure out what I need to do. Kind of like it. I don't think we really need to put a white line. I mean, if yours don't alternate as well as mine ended up turning out, I would recommend just a little white line to kind of define where that ripple is. Maybe along the bottom. Yeah, I think maybe along the bottom. I'm going to use my liner brush and just a little bit of white paint. And I want to thin it out a little because it's starting to get goopy because it's been sitting here an hour. I just want to, I'm just thinning it out by adding some water so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm just stirring a little water in. This will give me a nice flow. So I'm going to start with the pole, and I'm going to put a little highlight like right across the edge of the ball, and then I'm going to just come down. My brush is split. Let me see if I can fix it. And I'm going to do my best to just go straight down the edge. For a little highlight. This got a little thick. So if you end up getting too much on, just give it a moment to dry. Take your brush, a little bit of gray, and just a little bit of gray on my brush, just a teeny wee bit. And you can just kind of dab it on and clean up. See how it's making that white look thinner? I'm just brushing it down just to kind of even it out because it goes a little thick up there. Still a little thick up there. So there. Got my little highlight on my flagpole. And I'm going to take the white, like I kind of was yammering on about earlier, and I'm just going to put like a line across this bottom just to help give that a little bit more movement. We'll see how it looks on mine. You may decide not to. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm envisioning it in a good way. Yeah, now I want to go down. Now I want this to come down. I'm gonna go right across my edge here. I'm gonna do only on the striped area. So this is, the freaking brush keeps splitting. Sorry, it's frustrating me. I'm alright with that. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. And stars. Yeah. So I'm not gonna like make perfect little stars. I'm just gonna kind of give the impression of stars. And I'm not gonna put a whole bunch. I'm probably just gonna do like a small row across the top. Crack right there. That. Should I do 3 again or stagger? How about 2? Now let's see. I'm gonna just want one more row, so I'm gonna bring them down about here. I'm not making them perfect by any means. These look goofy in the middle though. A little bit. Let's see if I can get 4 in there. It seems off to me. No, I'm not even in a straight row. Hey, whatever. Who needs symmetry? Now I'm gonna make this one bigger, because my negative space is off here. And now I'm gonna make this one bigger. You don't ever know what it's like my first time painting the thing. After I do it one time, I have an idea of what I'm doing. You get to watch me figure this out. Mostly because I don't want to paint it again. But when class comes, I don't mind painting it again. You sit here all by yourself and paint it. It's like, geez. And I'm just talking to a phone like a weirdo. So that's cute. I'm gonna kind of lighten up the edges a little. Just very little tiny bit. It's that watered down paint. I just kind of want to sketch in my edge. Just a little bit. Maybe up at this top here. Yeah, I should have done that down here. That would have looked better. Just the sketchiness of it. Can't really fix it now, because it's still gonna look very bright under it. If I put red on top, it's gonna show through. No, it doesn't look like it matches, so I want it to match a little better. Maybe another quick coat on the stars. Maybe just kind of in the middle so that the edges, like the points, kind of fade and the centers kind of look brighter. I just tap in with my brush, just kind of boop, boop, boop. All right, I'm gonna stand up and give her a look over. I feel like I need to do some highlighting. But yeah, looks good, I think. Hopefully you guys like it. I'm gonna use my small brush and just some white paint. I'm gonna put some highlights in on my truck. Let's see. About like here, you can come On the fender flares, I'm going to do my hubcaps. Now if you put stars in there, you probably don't want to do that. Kind of wish I'd put stars in there. I don't know. I think I like it kind of basic too though. Little highlight here. Across here, maybe a little. The running board. There, I think we're done. Magnificent. Oh, we need to put a little shadow. What are we gonna do for shadow color? What we got to work with here? That's a little very dark gray. Just so that he's not floating. So I'm just gonna add black to my gray here. Make it darker. I thin it out a little. I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Just stir the water in. And I'm just gonna kind of under the truck, brush in just a little bit of shadow. And it just kind of grounds it so it's not just like floating. If you want to sign your name, feel free. I typically don't sign the wood ones. Just a weird thing of mine. If I were to, I'd probably just do itty bitty right here, just kind of hide it. Please take pictures when you're finished and upload to Willy-Nilly on Facebook. I have a post pinned at the very top. You can find it easy. Love seeing them. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.